John Ackerman for Convention of States, Indiana. In my ongoing series on COS Basics, I'm having some fun busting myths. And this myth says that Congress will decide how votes are cast and how votes are counted. Congress, not the convention. This myth goes on to say that this will look a lot like the Electoral College, where big states get a lot of votes, like California and New York, and little states get 3 votes. That's the minimum. Well, the fact is that neither Congress's power to call the convention nor its necessary and proper powers from Article 1 can be used to prescribe how votes will be counted. We know from history and from precedent that all states will be given equal voting strength because a convention of states is a meeting of equal sovereigns. By the way, remember that a lot of what I'm saying is found on conventionofstates.com on the web, so you can get more details and even sources backing up what I'm saying. Call a convention does not mean control a convention. In a review of the founding era convention calls, reveals that the power to call a convention is limited to specifying the time, place, and purpose for the convention. Founding era calls did not try to control the composition, rules, or conduct of the convention. All they did was designate the time, place, and purpose. It's a fact that Congress may not use its necessary and proper powers to control the convention. The necessary and proper clause of the Constitution applies only to the powers enumerated in Article 1, Section 8. In a court case called Idaho v. Freeman, the courts held that Congress's power to participate in the amendment process stems solely from Article 5. Question comes up, why equal voting? Because a convention of states is a meeting of equal sovereigns. States at a convention would each have the same voting strength, similar to the way member countries in NATO or the United Nations have equal voting strength. One nation, one vote, one state, one vote. And it's always been that way. Every interstate convention that's ever been held in America was one state, one vote. There is one exception to this. It was a convention in the late 1800s where each state got 8 votes. But even in that case, no state had greater voting strength than any other state. Think about the founders' intent. We know what the founders intended from the ratification debates: one state, one vote, and majority rules at the convention. And so the myth that Congress must decide how votes are cast and counted, busted.